What up, YouTube? Welcome to Reading Reddit, where we share some of Reddit's craziest stories. But before you do that, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Alright, let's get into today's video. What was your bullet and dodge moment? I took a girl online after dinner at a nicer place in our town. She was horrible to the server and actually got us kicked out because she called a manager a. After that, we were walking out and she wanted me to go back to her place and to watch a movie, which I refused and went home. 2 months later, I was reading the paper and saw her in the police blotter for assaulting her boyfriend with a golf club. Good thing she didn't ask you to go clubbing with her. Then, those poor baby seals. I once went on a date with this guy who used an entire conversation to try and figure out how much I would be missed. The hairs on the back of my neck were tingling for the only time in my life as he asked me about my every friend, family member, co-worker, roommate, how often I saw them, how long I would go between texting and calling. Needless to say, I suddenly had 5 overprotective older brothers who were PIs and cops. Well, that's terrifying. How did he react? I can't remember. My brain was focusing on the embarrassment of calling someone and sounding crazy, or just hoping he would take me back to my car, which stupid younger me thought was a good idea to park in a parking lot. Not me, but I had a hand in it. Knew this guy in high school peripherally. He was in the cool crowd of rocker type guys, and I was a nerd. A new girl arrived at our school from another town. She and I became friends, and a few months later she started dating him. At first she seemed cool, and we would talk about everything. At one point, however, she starts talking about how she has been hooking up with her ex-boyfriend behind cool guy's back. Just before the end of the school year, she tells me she is pregnant and that she knows it belongs to her ex-boyfriend. She's laughing and really proud of herself because cool guy is going to do the right thing. Withdraw his college application and go work at the local gas station to support her and the baby. Her ex, the father of the baby, is kind of a loser, so she thinks it's the best thing even that she can, while making cool guy support her. I didn't really know this guy that well, but got his phone number from an acquaintance of mine who knew it. Cool guy knew I was friends with his girlfriend, but was still pretty surprised to hear from me. I told him all about her ploy and said, "Get a paternity test, it isn't yours." This guy was incredibly stoic, but after a sizable pause, he just broke down crying for a few minutes, then thanked me. They broke up, and cool guy went to college and made something of his life. I think this and the goth couple are my favorite stories. This one, you're just like an avenging angel coming in at the worst moment of the dude's life to tell him, "Nah, you can carry on with your plans, bro. You done good." OP. Goth couple. My ex-boyfriend told me he was sterile. I started insisting on condoms anyway, just in case. Eventually I broke up with him. He currently has 2 kids with the girl he started dating after me. That would be really awkward if he was telling the truth and those kids aren't his, just saying. This reminds me of the prank video where the girlfriend tells the guy she's pregnant and he confesses he's sterile and breaks down. What happens is that he saw the camera and figured this was a prank, so he said he was sterile. She ended up confessing it was a prank, and then he started laughing and said he knew. It all might have been faked, but it was still amusing. Edit, I just tried looking it up and there are well over 100 videos of the exact same thing. Edit 2, you Shuckstain linked it below. That was the one. When I was 7, I got lost in Spain without my family. I had been lost for about 5 hours, really late at night, and had been going down some dark alleyways and car parks. I started asking random strangers if they spoke English, but there were only middle-aged men walking around alone. One guy didn't speak English, but gave me a cuddle and took me back to his house around the corner. At this point I'm crying my eyes out and just appreciated the help and kindness. When I got to his house, it turned out he had a family and the son was learning English in school. He got out of his school workbook and asked me my name. Then they took me to the police station. My parents picked me up about 10 minutes later as if they were driving around in a police car. That man could have been anyone, and I could have been kidnapped and never seen again. Not your ordinary bullet dodge. Seriously, when you said cuddle, I was scared for you. I've noticed in the UK they tend to say give me a cuddle instead of give me a hug. Or maybe my family was just weird. Before my wife and I met, she had a single date with someone. The date went fine, but she found him to be overbearing. He pulled his out for her to touch as an example, so they didn't go out again. They remained friendly until about 2 weeks later when he murdered his next date and set her on fire. He is now in prison for those who may want to know. Edit update, he shot and killed her in front of her kids and then set her house on fire. Sorry for my partial inaccuracy. I feel like overbearing is not really scratching the surface of someone who whips out there on the first date. Edit will. Alright, my highest rated comment is about whipping out. I accept this. You must really wonder what OP has done or seen in days to find out whipping Andy's cowboy and overbearing thing. 2 girls I grew up with became my tightly knit friend group. We were the misfit goths in high school. None of our parents paid attention to what we were doing and we had total freedom at an extremely young age. One had anorexia, the other had a home life. These were their defining plights, so that's how I'm going to define them here. But I was also pretty messed up myself at the time. I had a crush on home life girl. We had been getting closer and closer. Suddenly, the one with anorexia threw herself at me like in some very not subtle ways. Honestly, really hard to turn down the offer in the moment. I mean, she literally coaxed me into her bed when I had been sleeping in her mom's living room. Messed up home life was in a sleeping bag on her bedroom floor. The anorexic girl really wasn't someone I was interested in, and messed up home life was staying the night as well in the same room on the floor, so nothing happened. I just kind of slunk off awkwardly after probably at best like a small over the shirt fondle. She had no breath and saying I wasn't feeling well. I just wasn't into her, and even though I was hormone crazed, it felt wrong. I resisted the call of the siren and went back to the couch. To put into context how hard it was to turn this down, I would have lost that night. Instead, I pursued the girl with the messed up home life. The one with anorexia threw the biggest, most dramatic fit I had ever seen in my life, including threatening several times. Like no one has ever topped it, and someone later on had a breakdown in front of me where they ended up committed against their will. Turns out the anorexic girl was just hanging out with my now wife because she wanted to have someone worse off than her around. She was a mean girl. Pretty sure the anorexic girl didn't like me in the least bit. She just didn't want the other girl to get attention. She was trying to my chances with the sad home life girl to keep her under her skinny thumb. Good thing I kept in my pants because 1, the night that girl I liked was actually awake listening to me turn down the anorexic one. 2, she liked me back. A lot. We started dating. We were each other's first everything. I helped her emotionally survive her messed up home life, and somehow miraculously the messed up environment started fixing itself. Her mom got treatment or something. The more we were together, the happier we were. We both started volunteering and working on making our city a better place. We started saving money to move out together. We did everything we could to be better for ourselves and each other. I ended up marrying this girl. We've been together for 19 years. I have one of the happier marriages in this world, and that would not have happened if I screwed that crazy anorexic chick when she threw herself at me. Don't know where the other girl is these days. I rarely think about her unless I'm thinking about how I dodged a bullet. TLDR, I didn't stick it in crazy when I had the opportunity. This is one of the most weirdly terrifying comments I've ever read. In that one moment, your life could have changed drastically. Hindsight is really fascinating. I'm really happy for you and the life you managed to form for yourself though. Maybe OC used his time travel powers to go back and fix things. Life is strange. I just survived a heart attack on Thursday, so there's that. By the way, I'm 33. Way too young for this. Edit for all those asking. Not overweight. I don't know what the proper response there is. Congrats. Good luck going forward. That's some scary shit. What do we say to the god of death? Not today. Don't know if it's a dodge the bullet moment, but I felt like I did Afghanistan a few years ago. having a smoke late at night with our local cultural advisor, LCA, and a bullet whistled right over our heads for my very first time. I looked at our LCA and asked him what that was, and he took another drag from his smoke. Unfazed, he said with a thick Pashtun accent, "You idiot, that was a bullet. You should sit down with me before you get your head shot off by the next round." And well, what can I say? My LCA saved my life, because as soon as I did sit my ass down on the Afghanistan dirt, another bullet came whistling by. Thank you, Bilal. Literal bullet dodge. So yeah, I'd say that counts. Well, like I said, I didn't actually dodge it. I just sat down when Bilal told me to sit down. Back in the day, re dial-up internet and expensive desktops, I downloaded a malware which asked for credit card details. I was young and didn't have a card, so I contemplated nicking my dad's and putting in the details. I didn't want to get into trouble. The thing was, the malware was asking for payment in rubles. At the time, I had no idea what that was. Was it a different currency? Some other adult speak? So I came clean to my parents and they sorted the rest. They also deleted my LimeWire. I assume your parents created a "you aren't allowed to download anything off the internet" rule after that. Clicks run instead of save. Woo, those are some wild stories. Do you guys have any dodge the bullet moments? Share them in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with your friends and family, and everybody you know. Bye.